If you're starting a business for the first time, these are the 7 biggest mistakes you have to avoid. And trust me, if you get any of these wrong, it could kill your company. I've been a founder for the last 12 years and raised over $17 million for my 2 businesses. My first business, RealSport, scaled to 9 million monthly users and was acquired by a gaming company in 2018 for 7 figures. So trust me when I tell you, I've made the mistakes, I know where they are, and if you follow this video, you have a really good chance of going to be a huge success. Since selling my company in 2018, I've invested in over 20 companies, including Carmen and Laps, who have gone on to raise over $150 million. And trust me when I tell you, these are the mistakes that they've learned to avoid. By watching this video, these are the 7 mistakes you're going to learn to avoid that can save your company. Number 1, don't give senior titles away too early. Number 2, when hiring, don't get blinded by the logos. Number 3, cap table and equity gymnastics. 4, prioritize your health. Number 5, everything is downstream from lead gen. Number 6, don't compare yourself to other founders. And finally, number 7, don't obsess over competition. Don't give senior titles away too early. This is such a big mistake that I've made many times. Most founders do, especially the first time you're trying to build a business. And I get it. It's tough. You're trying to get credibility with investors, with customers, with partners. So saying you have that chief marketing officer, that COO, that CFO in place feels like the right thing to do, but trust me, it isn't. And this is only going to cause you big problems down the line. When you're first starting out your business, you have no idea what you need. You have no idea the skill sets, the requirements, the types of things you're going to be doing, the projects, the customers. Whatever you think your business is day 1, it's probably not going to be that day 365, year 2, year 3. So don't give away a CMO role, a CFO role early on. You're just setting yourself up for failure. Feelings are going to get hurt. And when you're starting out, you need generalists. You need people who can do a bit of everything. You need the hustlers, the grinders, the grafters, the people who are going to make things happen, make something out of nothing, and a lot of something out of a lot of nothing. And that's not what a CMO does, and it's not what a COO does. So you've got to make sure you're giving people the opportunity to learn and to grow and develop and progress. And as your business grows and you understand what you need a little bit better and a little bit more clearly, you're going to be able to make some amazing hires. But be honest, be open, and be really transparent with your team. You're going to be wearing lots of hats. You're going to be doing lots of things. It's going to change. It's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging, and it's going to be quite undefined. It's not going to have a clear job spec. So don't give away that title. Don't give away that Chief X Officer role, and just build a group of hustlers early on. And that way you're giving people the space to grow, to still adapt, learn what they're going to do, learn what you need as a business owner, and build accordingly. The brutal reality of startup is it's a little bit hire quick, fire quick at the very early stage. When you're still figuring out what you need as a business owner, figuring out the requirements for those different roles, you might have quite a high turnover of staff early on. That's to be expected. I think with Connectd, before I had my first proper employee, I was working with 6 or 7 different people where it didn't work out. We were trying different things, creating content, thinking about different sales playbooks. I didn't know. So you know what? If I'd given away a CMO title, COO title, and went to market saying, look at the CMO I have, and then after 3-4 months doesn't work out, you chop and change, doesn't make sense for anyone. So be smart with the way that you do these things, but empower your team. Delegate quickly as a founder to that team of generalists, and give people the opportunity to really take things to that next level and start on a path to get that title as you grow. But if you give it away too early, you're going to lose really key people along the way. I've made amazing marketing hires early on and gave away that CMO role. And that person should have been a great mid-level senior marketing lead for the company, but they needed support. Nothing against them, no critique. They were just a little bit earlier on within their journey. They had a long way to go. I wish I hadn't given them that CMO title, because then I could have brought in a CMO to support them. So then you're stuck with having that conversation with that person saying, listen, I just need to bring someone in who's got a bit more experience than you. You're going to have to give up that CMO role. And you can imagine how that goes, especially people have a lot of egos. They're not the business owner. They're going to see it through the lens of their career, obviously. So don't make that mistake. Let me make that mistake for you, which I did many, many times the first time round, and avoid this one. And you're giving yourself the best chance for your team and your business to grow. Another key thing is when you're empowering your early team and really letting them run to the front, make big decisions, key decisions, you're really building their resilience. You're building their mentality, you're building their mental health and their strength by giving them that exposure to big decisions. So when you give them that chance to make big decisions, you're really setting them up for management and for becoming leaders as your business grows. Number 2, when hiring, don't get blinded by the logos. I've made this mistake. It's embarrassing to say. I made this mistake 4 times. So please don't make this mistake. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. When you're an early stage startup, again, you want that credibility, you want that validity, you want a bit of safety. So bringing someone in who's got these big brand names behind them feels like a good idea. It's not. It's a really, really, really bad shout at the early stage. One of my investors told me recently that if someone's worked on one of those big corporate logos, you want at least 2 companies between that logo and you. What does that mean? If someone's come just out of Amazon and you're a 2-person startup, 3-person startup, it's not going to work. They're used to working with unlimited budget. They're used to working with a brand behind them, with infrastructure behind them, all these things that you do not have. And they'll be able to talk the talk. One of the biggest things in that corporate world is interview skills. So they can talk the talk, but don't let the logos and the chat blind you. When it comes to building a startup, you need hustlers. You need people who have got that startup experience, who've been there, done that, and want to graft and grind. And when I say been there and done that, it doesn't mean they need to have had a really successful career. I've taken amazing chances on young people who've got 0 on their CV. When I say been there and done that, I mean, get the sleeves rolled up, dig in, build something. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's really what you're looking for early on. A first-round study recently found that startups with founding team members under the age of 25 are 30% more likely to be successful. It doesn't matter about corporate experience, it matters about hustle. I think when you go into corporate experience, you start doubting yourself a little bit, or you start playing things really, really safe and, oh, should we do this? I don't know about that. Have you thought about this? Risk mitigation, downside, bureaucracy, all of these things kill startups. Until there is a business, there is no business. So don't build for enterprise style thoughts when you're at the very early stage. It's like a young footballer playing their first few games. You can see when they don't have that fear and they're ready to play and they don't have that doubt and they haven't been ground down yet by what's to come. I see the same with enterprise. Unless you have these real killers, the very, very few in enterprise who have that entrepreneurial mindset, you're looking for those who are willing to hustle, who want to make it happen for themselves and make it happen together with you, build that vision. When you think about your early team, don't think about logos, think about people who have still got it all to go for. So incentivize your team, forget the logos, don't give away those big titles too early, and get your team equity. Key mistake number 3 to avoid: forget the cap table and equity gymnastics. I cannot tell you, when I speak to a founder and I see that they're considering whether they should raise that pre-seed round at 1.5 million instead of 1.2 million or 1.8 million, never have I heard something which will turn me off from an investment quicker. Being a founder, especially in 2025 when AI has lowered the barriers to entry for everything, it is all about speed to market, speed of execution, making things happen incredibly quickly. So that time wasted calculating whether raising 20 grand extra at that price might or might not make you a millionaire in 3 years' time, forget it. If that's the way you're thinking about building business, you've already lost. Think about building value, making sales, generating revenue, think about your team, forget the equity gymnastics. Another great tip that I have for you when it comes to equity is using SPVs. These single-purpose vehicles are incredibly efficient ways at raising capital without building cap table dynamics that you want to avoid. What do I mean by that? When an investor or an acquirer or a partner is looking at making an investment or getting more involved with your business, one of the first things they're going to look at is your cap table. If you have a messy cap table, that means relative to your size and stage, you have a lot of investors who are shareholders in your company, that when you're looking to get deals done or make changes or raise further funding, you're going to have to get maybe all of those people to sign documents. And shareholder relations is so important. So the time it will take to stay on that many shareholders and to make sure they are fully up to speed, fully in the loop with your business is going to be very time consuming. So save yourself the headache, make yourself more appealing to those investors and those partners by utilizing SPVs. That's going to allow you to raise investment from lots of different people and group that investment into one line on the cap table to keep it nice and clean, allow your decision making to happen much, much quicker and not scare off any potential investors in the future. Now, you heard me talk about the importance of shareholder relations. Trust me, get that wrong and your startup can die. If you don't keep your investors constantly in the loop with what's going on in your business, you're really opening up yourself to a whole host of potential nightmares. I remember early on in Connectd, when I was doing my monthly reports for every single investor, very clear, have the progress, everyone really felt they were on the journey together. They could really see what we were building. They were super, super bought in because every single month, without fail, I'm keeping everyone in the loop, keeping them excited and understanding exactly where we are in the business. And I was keeping all the investors up to date with this potential really large investment that a VC was going to come in with. As it happens, that VC didn't come in with the investment. It fell down during terms and negotiation. There are a few things we weren't happy about, but because we had kept all of the investors in the loop along the way, when that VC pulled out and we needed some extra capital, they were all over it. For us, that was a lifeline. Now, I remember a time during RealSport, and we only got away with this because we were lucky, that we had a similar situation and I hadn't been keeping my investors in the loop. And then when I reached back out to them and they hadn't heard from me in 4 or 5 months, you're spending weeks trying to get into their schedule. Oh, well, do you remember we did this? Yeah, we didn't do this in the end. Oh, we changed this. And when you need things to happen quickly and you're losing valuable days and weeks just getting them back up to speed, that's the sort of thing that kills startups. Mistake number 4, not prioritizing your health. You hear this time and time again. It's all about the founders and the team. So if we know that to be true, then we can understand that if a founder stops looking after themselves and starts burning out, that business is probably going to start burning out too. I've seen this many, many times. And you hear people say, well, entrepreneurialism isn't for everyone, business ownership isn't for everyone. I disagree. It's all about how you manage your health, your mental health, and your stress to really go on this battle. Now, don't get me wrong. You need a hell of a lot of resilience to be a business owner, to be a founder, and to go on this journey. But everyone has resilience and everyone has the chance to grow their resilience. And trust me, being a business owner will grow your resilience. But along the way, there are things that you can do to really look after yourself, to make sure that you don't burn out, make sure you're checking in with yourself, growing, developing, resting, because every single day is a new fight, every single day is a new battle. And that means every single day you need to try and recover. There'll also be times, and I remember many times at RealSport, spending sometimes even 2 nights in the office awake, just working through. Brutal, not fun, but had to be done at that time. RealSport was a B2C company where our 2 biggest markets were Los Angeles, Sydney, and then London is the 3rd biggest. So we were working through the night. I mean, didn't have any options. That's what you got to do. You can only do that if you then understand what rest and recovery looks like as well. And you need to make sure that that's the exception. And the rule should be having that routine. I'm totally aware that I'm being a massive hypocrite right now. And I know that when I was starting Connectd for the first 2 years, I sacrificed everything. Genuinely, went from 88 kg to 132 kg in 18 months. And that was not lifting, okay? It was not great, but that was COVID, and I sacrificed everything to make Connectd work. Every single day, 20 hours a day at the laptop, like genuinely, no way of living. It's funny. People talk about COVID. I didn't even know there was a pandemic. That was how locked in I was. I did that. I made those sacrifices, and I would say I made those mistakes. And it got to the end of 2021. And I realized that I was not going to be the CEO, the founder, and the leader that I needed to be when the business was at that stage. So yes, that level of sacrifice allowed the business to get somewhere, but it wasn't going to let the business get to where it needed to be. And actually, I had to turn the mirror back to myself and say, what do I need to do to be the right leader? And it's scary. It's very scary as a business owner to do that, because you found this formula of being so locked in that's taken you to a level that you're worried about messing with the formula, but you have to do it. And you've got to see that you will become the biggest bottleneck of the company if you can't lead from the front. When I decided to take my health seriously again and make those changes, I then had to really ensure that I was doing all the right things to get back up to speed and get back to where I was. Quit drinking, 5 months, walking every day, eating good, training good, sleeping good, all of these key things. And it was amazing that within 2-3 months, maybe even 4 weeks of that lifestyle shift, how much better of a founder I was. Better attention, better concentration. You're able to show up for your team in a different way. And I know how scary this is for business owners and founders, where you have guilt when you're not working. I remember one of the biggest problems I had was, if I train or if I do this, I'm going to be away from my phone. What if something happens? No one can get in touch with me. All these really negative ways of thinking. But once you find that you are at a spot with the business where you've sacrificed everything, and now the right thing to do is sacrifice as little as possible and show up as a leader, these things you need to do. Wake up early, sunlight in the mornings, intermittent fasting. I know I'm a stereotype in this sense of a tech CEO, but this is exactly what you got to do. You got to do those things to really be feeling the best version of yourself and being the best leader that you can be. I was at the Slush conference a couple years ago, and I saw the founder of DBT Labs, Tristan, speaking. And he said something which really, really resonated with me at that time. And for those who don't know, DBT Labs have now raised over $300-400 million, really big, awesome company. And Tristan said that as soon as you have product market fit, the most important thing a founder can do is look after themselves. As a founder, obsessed with data, of course. That's where the Whoop was amazing. For me, when I started using Whoop, it actually showed me and scared me with how big of a negative impact that bad lifestyle was. It's crazy. I'm a different human being from what I was before. And I think it's a really fantastic positive reinforcement cycle. The more locked in you are, the better you can show up for your team, the better you can support them to achieve their goals and help them unlock the problems that they're having. So that's the biggest mistake that I think you can make. I understand as a founder, you have to sacrifice everything, but you only have to do that up until the point that you don't. And at that point, it's your job as a founder to start prioritizing your health again. Key mistake number 5. Every single thing you do is downstream from lead gen. This is another classic mistake that I see founders make, and it starts with them being distracted. There are 500 accelerators that you could apply for. There is so much grant funding, there's PR, there's all these things that you can do. But guess what? None of them are more important than lead gen. This is something that Simon Squibb taught me, and this is an amazing lesson. I know that it takes a while to figure out what your business is, how you speak to customers, how you're going to get their engagement, how you're going to get them to pay. The only way that you're going to have enough attempts at figuring it all out is if you have enough potential customers to speak to. So everything is downstream from lead gen. If you can't generate leads, you can't generate revenue. And if you can't generate revenue, there is no business. And this is not just for tech startups or anything like that. This is how anyone can start their own business. Figure out lead gen, figure out distribution. And I'll tell you what, now with AI, the premium on product is the lowest it's ever been, and it's only going to get lower. The premium, the moat, the defensibility on technology is gone. The only moat is on distribution. Distribution, AKA lead gen. How can I get this in front of more people? How can I get more people in front of me? This is what we're doing right now. This is all there is to focus on as a business owner. How am I going to consistently generate a reliable source of leads? Everything else needs to be deprioritized. When we built Connectd, we had this in mind. We want to keep founders hyper-focused on the things that are going to make the biggest difference in their business. I've actually mentioned this in some of my videos before, which are linked here. So I want everyone to really listen to me when I say your hyper-focus on the things that matter the most to your business is the difference between success and failure. Mistake number 6, don't compare yourself to others. In this case, founders. And guess what? This is good advice for every part of life. When all we see is LinkedIn, the fundraising announcements, the TechCrunch articles, all these things, it creates this false reality. When you see an announcement of a massive venture capital round, firstly, you don't know the full story. The liquidation preferences, the terms, the share, all of these things. You are more likely to be more successful as a business owner without venture than with venture. The system has lied to you. The system makes you think that that is the end goal. But trust me, unless you want to do something which has a 90% chance of failing for a very small percentage of massive success, in order to want to go on the VC journey, you basically are saying, I'm ready to sacrifice everything that you do as a business owner, but for very little chance of the right outcome. And even if that business is successful, it doesn't mean that you as a founder are going to make any money going down that route. So this is where the system has lied to you. It's making you chase a headline. You're working 3-4 years to get a product to a certain place to then give that product away. It's not about headlines. Once the headline's over, once it's the next day, that's gone and you're left with the reality. The goal is the outcomes. And don't compare yourself to other founders. That's a start, because you're on your own journey and they're on their own journey. And whether that journey was the right one to go on will be in retrospect. Unfortunately, we live in a society where the perception of success is not being successful in your own right. It's being successful compared to someone else. And that's a really evil thing. It's a terrible thing. We should all find success and joy in what we do with the blinkers on. Comparison is the thief of joy. That is so true. And what it does is it creates envy, it creates jealousy, it creates negativity between people where it doesn't need to exist. So again, this is where the system tricks you. It's going to keep you not successful by making you continue to compare yourself to everyone else. Just focus on yourself and your business. And this is where ego is the enemy. The amount of crazy decisions I've seen business owners and founders make because it threatens their ego. When you see someone lose their head and you see someone just act out in a way where they're like a wounded animal. They're scared. They're, oh, well, if we don't manage this, what's everyone going to think? That's where the ego is in control of the mind. And that is a recipe for disaster. So just focus on yourself, be the best version of yourself that you can be. And this takes us on to the last mistake, mistake number 7. Don't compare yourself to your competitors. Comparing yourself to competitors, obsessing over competitors, this makes 0 sense. YC, Y Combinator, the most successful accelerator on the planet. Their advice is focus on yourself because you're 10 times more likely to die from suicide than from murder. That means if you've picked a big enough market, which most markets are, of course there's going to be competition. You're looking to own 2, 3, 4% of a market at most, and you'll be laughing if you own that much. So competitors are going to be everywhere. You don't need to smash the entire competition to be a business owner and to make good money for yourself and your team and to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. If you get to a stage where market share is your biggest problem, because you have that level of market penetration, you're already in the most amazing position. So don't let obsession over competition destroy your business from getting going in the first place. Focus on yourself. your internal optimization. Now in the world of AI, there's probably so many things that you can do to optimize your workflows, optimize your profitability, cut down on everything. These things are going to make your business infinitely better. Obsessing over competition, worrying about them, isn't going to get you anywhere. I can happily tell you that since we launched Connectd 5 years ago now, and we're now servicing 6,500 customers, generating nearly 10 million in annual revenue, I never look at the competition. I look at the competition in terms of it's interesting to market the landscape, but when we launch a feature and then they launch the feature in 6 weeks' time, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. I know that if we are the best business that we can be, we are going to be amazing. We're going to have so many customers. We're going to grow. Don't obsess over the competition. Be aware of what they're doing. Understand the landscape. Understand your differentiation. But you're 10 times more likely to die from suicide than murder. It's going to come down to ego. It's going to come down to team. It's going to come down to people. And it's going to come down to your processes and what you do as a business. So focus on yourself first and then get your head above the parapet. If this resonated with you, hit like, hit subscribe, and let us know in the comments what are the biggest mistakes that you've ever made in your startup and how you got over them. And if you've learned anything from this video, please share with fellow founders. We are trying to give as many people free knowledge as possible. We want to be a rising tide lifting all boats. Like I said right at the top, life is far too short to make every mistake yourself. So listen to others, share this out there, and together we can win.